While I was researching topics for new videos, I stumbled upon an interesting and significant trend on the internet related to arm wrestling and wanted to talk to you about it. Arm Wrestle Simulator codes and similar terms were consistently among the most popular topics searched in the last months. Now, what is Arm Wrestle Simulator and why is it so popular all of a sudden? And will the game help popularize the sport of arm wrestling, or is there more than meets the eye? I am the Arm Historian, and today we'll try to answer these questions while taking a critical look at Arm Wrestle Simulator. Arm Wrestle Simulator by Cubo Games, released in April 2023 on the popular yet controversial Roblox platform. For those that don't know, Roblox is a game development platform that allows its users to create and play games made within the platform. It also allows its users to monetize their creations, which, on its face, is a good thing. Because of the fact that the Roblox user base skews to the younger side though, it has led the platform to its fair share of controversies. One of the major issues revolves around how developers are compensated for their work. Despite the platform's impressive revenue, the developers often receive a significantly small cut. Another contentious matter is the use of Robux, Roblox's in-game currency, as a payment to developers, instead of real-world currencies, essentially rendering the earnings nearly worthless outside of the platform. The avatar shop where players purchase accessories for their characters has also faced criticism. Some items are priced as high as hundreds of dollars, and players have to engage in what appears to be a form of gambling to acquire certain limited collectibles, which is problematic, especially when it comes to children. So let's try to find out if Arm Wrestle Simulator has the same sorts of issues and check the game out. In order to play Arm Wrestle Simulator, I first needed to download the Roblox application, and after a brief install I am thrust into a server with a handful of other players, all regaled in countless fancy outfits. The controls are pretty standard and I'm able to move freely around a huge gym. It is then that I find out the main mechanic of Arm Wrestle Simulator: clicking. That's right, you click or tap repeatedly to train a number of different stats, and you engage in arm wrestling battles by doing exactly the same thing, as fast as possible. I do have to give the game some credit for at least incorporating some skills that are actually relevant to arm wrestling. We've got bicep power, that's certainly important on the table. And we've also got hand strength, which, sure, that makes sense. And of course, which arm wrestler doesn't train their knuckle strength? Anyway, the way you train and essentially level these skills up involves several training tools, like hand grippers, dumbbells, and a boxing ball. Ah yes, the first thing Coach Ray always emphasizes to any beginner arm wrestler is make sure to hit the boxing bag on the daily. We all know how well an arm wrestler venturing to the boxing world has turned out in the past. I was about 2 minutes into the game at this point when I was first introduced to the concept of Robux. The game would allow me to forego the pesky waiting time of an hour and a half for the low price of $5.99. Soon though, the pay-to-win floodgates were opened fully on my unsuspecting avatar, and I was offered the opportunity to basically buy my way through the entire game, if I was inclined to spend hundreds of dollars. I tried my hand at progressing through the game further by winning some arm wrestling matches. Remember arm wrestling, the thing that's in the title of the game? The first of those matches was against a so-called bully. Our hands flowed in relative proximity while frantically jiggling about, after which I finished my opponent with side pressure, straight through the table. Speaking about the table, it seems the developers couldn't even be bothered putting any sort of pads or pegs on it, and by using side pressure on a plain table, are essentially showing everyone the best way to break an arm. After I'm declared victorious, I decide my best move is to mimic Wagner Bortolato and trash the table, but I'm stopped and seem frozen in mid-air. If only Engin could utilize this technology, it wouldn't be one table down. I hit the boxing bag a little more and managed to defeat my second opponent after a bout of furious clicking, which is when it sunk in completely that there truly isn't a lot more to Arm Wrestle Simulator than this. The game demands an endless amount of time spent on grinding and leveling up in order to progress, which in turn makes it far more appealing to spend just a couple of Robux to make the entire experience go faster. In the end, I'm largely of two minds on Arm Wrestling Simulator. I like the fact that a game featuring arm wrestling is getting a significant amount of exposure, valuable exposure that might lead to more people checking out the sport and digging further into the topic of competitive arm wrestling. The fact that most, if not all of these people are children, might also be a double-edged sword and a problem in its own way. The game's representation of arm wrestling is in no way close to accurate, which leads me to believe the developers had no real knowledge about the sport. So why did they pick arm wrestling? Well, I have no clue. So is this game good or bad for the sport of arm wrestling? Despite its scummy marketing strategies towards children and complete lack of any compelling gameplay, I think Arm Wrestle Simulator is mostly harmless towards the sport. Unfortunately, I also don't think it will lead to a sudden spike in arm wrestling interest in kids that are playing the game. Whatever the case, as of right now, the game has become an interesting little slice of modern arm wrestling culture. This video won't be interrupting my regular long-form content, and while it's a little different from my usual stuff, I hope you still enjoyed watching it. Arm Historian out.